Good afternoon, Whispers, and welcome back to Whispers in a Bottle Grown Talk Cocktail Fridays. Woo! I've missed you all so much. And to even come in and just to give you that greeting, I have to tell you, I am so excited to be back on air. And it's good to be back in our safe zone and in the Whisperers Lounge. You know, my name is Sonya LaRae. I'm a lifestyle counselor, fashion psychologist, naturopathic practitioner. After this intentional pause, and I tell you, I always have clear intention, aim, purpose, and direction. It is nice to be back here and just taking a moment to have that realignment and to be able to come back in with a different kind of clarity, a different kind of reverence, and even what I want to bring into this season and how our studio is set up now is so different. I feel like we're just kind of blossoming in such a different kind of way. So, I always tell you that, you know, we are going to move into different directions in our steps and in what we're speaking about. And you stepped into this discussion today. And after, like I said, this pause, I got to really sit back in my life that demands realignment, reflection, and, you know, ruthless honesty. And Whispers, season 11, this season that I'm presenting today, centers around our emotional legacy and what you leave behind energetically, relationship, rationally, even as far as it goes psychologically. So, this is the season of unflinching clarity. And I really made it a determination of really thinking about this on how I wanted to move us forward. And even reading your emails over the summer break, it was so wonderful to hear how season 10 really impacted you and what impact it made upon you. So, your emotional legacy and how the currency you build or you're building right now is shaping your future for better or for worse. And that's what we're going to get in today. So please make sure that you subscribe to our fabulous newsletter, The Whispers Exchange, so you get the featured mocktail of the episode and much more. There is always a live link in the description box of each and every one of the episodes. And if you ever miss any of the key points or so you get back in the swing of things, we're going to get master keys. So if you miss out on any of the master keys, come back and listen to the replay. But the biggest thing is to please make sure that you share this episode with someone who may need it. So don't forget, this is a live interactive discussion. Podbean always has our back. And they did something fabulous by placing a live chat box into each and every one of our discussions. So this way you can drop your comments, your questions, if you want me to reiterate anything, right in the chat box, because your girl loves to monitor a great chat box. But only thing we ask is that you remember that we give dignity and grace to everyone. And this is what makes a rich discussion is when we really value each other's opinion and we're not going to be harsh or saying smart comments or being disrespectful. So just remember that. So let's get into today's discussion. And I love starting our discussions off with a clear meaning or definition, and this isn't any different. So we're going to get the meaning or understanding of shape. Okay? So shape means to form. Let me give it to you again. We're getting the clear meaning and understanding of shape, and that means to form. So, with that meaning in mind, I think we need to begin with what is emotional legacy. And we know that emotional legacy is the imprint of your emotional patterns, your decisions, and dysfunctions, even. So, we're going to lean into a lot of factors today, Whispers. It's how your inner world becomes someone else's inheritance. So, you see what the title is that we're talking about today. emotional legacy. Now, many of you all are familiar with that word, legacy. What is laid before you? What is an inheritance, correct? Hey, it's good to have you back in the Whisperers Lounge. I tell you, I'm always happy to see you Whisperers. Whether they ask for it or not, this legacy is built silently, choice by choice, and it transcends wealth, titles, assets, even different things that people think of inheritance from. So, emotional legacy isn't what you give. So, let's make that clear. It's not what you give, but it's what you leave when you're not or no longer in the space or the place or in the room. Now, you see, Whispers, I'm getting into this season. We're going to build this out so beautifully. And I'm taking my time with it because I want you to gather every part of this discussion because this is a powerful season. So, but most people curate physical wealth, but bankrupt those closets, those that are closest to them emotionally. So, of course, they're thinking about, oh, I have to leave money, I have to leave wealth, I have to leave this, the house, the inheritance. But emotionally, they're depleted, they're bankrupt that they're giving to their loved ones or those that are in that line with them. So they don't recognize that emotional currency they spend anger, avoidance, codependency, overconsumption is the same currency that others will use to interpret their self-worth as well as model relationships. Now, I want you to really think about what I just said because we're talking about legacy. We're talking about what is handed over to a person, emotional legacy. So you heard they inherit anger, avoidance, codependency, overcompensation, lack of emotional wealth, or in that space and place of love, caring. Dysfunctionality becomes the norm. So, why does this season matter now? See, we got to look at that and ask that question. Why does this season matter now? See, Whisperers, the global recalibration is underway. It is really underway. And people no longer tolerating toxic resilience. Executives are collapsing under performance personas. Parents are silently transmitting trauma as tradition. Relationships are they're fraying under mismanaged expectations. Even how many times have you even heard someone say that, you know what, I just feel like I can never live up to the expectations? And that's what it is. It's no longer being accepted, or this is going to be the new norm of this day and age. And this isn't a season of self improvement. This is a season of emotional audit and reconstruction. I was going to say reconcile, but no, it's reconstruction. It really is under reconstruction. So if you're still operating on patterns inherited from survival, you're not building a future. You're replicating a past. And season 11, this season that we're coming into right now, will dismantle that. It's going to go thread by thread. It's going to be powerful, Whisperers. So I had the time over this hiatus to really think about what I wanted to do to really shift and pivot our mindset, but also change the dynamic of our legacies, emotional currency. And see, when you put it in a bigger picture, in a bigger frame, you get to have a bird's eye view at the perspective of where you could go and what it can be. So, Whisperers, I love giving you master keys in all of our discussions. And the reason for them, and let me just say, I'm going to tell you why I give you master keys. I'm going to reiterate it each and every time you hear me have a discussion. I tell you this. But for all the new listeners that we've acquired, this is why I give out master keys in all of our discussions. These master keys allow us to open the corridors, the hallways, the secret compartments of our hearts and our mind. But they also allow us to finally find places and spaces that we need to shift and make those regular changes in. Those master keys that work congruently to open up the corridors, the secret compartments of our heart and our mind that allow us to step in, step over, and step upon our greatness. Now, if that doesn't make you excited, I don't know what will. But honey, I'm so charged up I could barely sit here today. So look, let's get into our first master key, okay? The first master key of this discussion is this. Emotional literacy is non-negotiable. Ooh. You cannot manage what you cannot name. Now, you know what? That's odd. We developed that topic in last season. And if you didn't get your master keys from that discussion, you got to go back and pick them up. That's why I tell you, you got to keep your keychains handy. You can't throw them in the bottom of your pocketbook, in the back seat, down in your pocket, in the closet, because it requires that you take them out and use these keys. So we're pulling up another key from another discussion, but we're going to get even more of that clarity that we need so we can really move with clear intention. So this must be one of our top master keys, as you realize, because if we've received it on numerous accounts and numerous discussions, this has to be a powerful key. So emotional literacy is the foundation of emotional legacy. And if your vocabulary only includes anger, sadness, or happiness, you are emotionally illiterate. Let me say that again. If your vocabulary only includes anger, sadness, or happiness, you are emotionally illiterate. So, precision in language creates precision in self-regulation. Emotional vagueness leads to that rational distraction or destruction, even. So, this leads us into our second master key. And notice that I did not elaborate on that first key. Now, you may be sitting here thinking to yourself, now, why didn't she do that? She normally gives us, because it's an element of the second master key that actually builds upon that first one. So we have to do it that it lays down in a concise manner. So the second master key that works congruently with the first one is that your boundaries are economic, not emotional. Wow. So you do not set boundaries. I'm not going to set these boundaries. No. So in turn, we don't set boundaries, okay? We don't set them. We embody them. Now, I know you thought I was going to say something different, but no, this is the thing. A boundary isn't a conversation, it's a consequence. A boundary is not a conversation, it's a consequence, and it is a currency. So every time you hold a boundary, you preserve your emotional capital. Every time you collapse one of your boundaries, You default on your self-respect. Collateral damage. Collateral damage. See, Whisperers, high-level professionals actually struggle here because they confuse access with influence. And they extend themselves beyond capacity, convincing themselves it's leadership. And many of you all are in a position and have your own businesses. Even if you are running a household, many of you all are doing this even inside of your homes. So, what is it? Emotional bankruptcy in a tailored suit. That's exactly what it is. You have emotional bankruptcy at its finest of luxury qualities. You're wearing an Armani suit and it's bankrupt. So it's like you're really wearing a knockoff. See, when I work with my clients, the first correction is this: I have them stop bleeding for those who never asked for a transfusion. Ooh! Now, that's powerful. Stop bleeding for those that never asked you for a transfusion. You're not responsible for others' emotional overdrafts. You are not. You are not the first bank of drop off. Let me withdraw all of your energy. Let me take all your emotional wealth, everything else. Stop depleting your bank account. They even are taking from your reserves. They are depleting even your reserves. So you are the only responsible person for your own ledger. If you're not willing to look out for your accounts, if you're not willing to look out for your mental health, your physical being, and all of the different elements that make you whole, then what exactly are you doing? How are you benefiting yourself? How are you benefiting those that are in that legacy or that line for you? And some of you may be saying, well, I'm single. I don't have to wear it. No, no, no. Yes, you do. Hold on a second. Pause. Let's put that on pause. Let's put a plug in that for a second. Because see, your emotional legacy that you're leaving are for those that are the closest to you, be it from your friends, your family, from those that are really dear to your employees that work for you. But because you are so withdrawn and you have all these withdrawals, you cannot even show up in the manner that you're supposed to. So you're depleting your emotional legacy. You're sabotaging the currency that shapes your future. See, that's how powerful that first and the second master key is. See, this season, we're going to dissect what it looks like to establish non negotiables. And now, a lot of times when I'm working with clients and I'm talking about certain things, this comes up in when we're building out relationships. But you realize you're building out relationships in your life, even through the practices that you have inside of your business, with those that are in close association with you. You have to be willing to establish those non negotiables. Now, non negotiables are not superficial either. And we're going to get into that later in our discussions. And that doesn't require explanation, emotional labor, or repair after enforcement either. So, Whisperers, you hear how powerful that key is. Now, that is something that you have to really learn to lean upon. Because many people, they have certain things that, oh, I'm not going to do that. Oh, I'm not going to do, but they compromise. They compromise when it comes to, oh, well, my friend, she needs or he needs or I'm just like their sounder, but you are being depleted. Your emotional legacy is being withered and drawn up. So let's look into our third master key. Emotional compounding builds or breaks future generations. Emotional compounding builds or breaks future generations. Whisperers, emotions do not die, they multiply. What is unresolved gets repeated. I hate to say it, but it's true. What is unresolved, oh my Lord, comes back again. It's like a boomerang. You throw it and it keeps coming back. It ricochets back at you. What gets repeated becomes culture. What gets repeated becomes culture. You are not just patterning or parenting a child. You are parenting your grandchildren through your current behaviors. You are not just leading a team. You are an architect that next or in that architectural divide or development of the next leadership model through your dysfunction or your emotional lack of, or that depreciation, or that emotional, precision that you don't have. Emotional compounding is how repeated small responses become identity or that level of structure. So, I'm sitting here as I'm saying this and I'm really thinking about all the things that I'm saying. And it makes me think that like avoidance actually becomes like abandonment. And over, nurturing becomes control. And then silence becomes like complacency. And these are all patterns that don't skip generations, they metastasize. So they develop a secondary malignant growth through them. Now, as I was saying that, right? Sometimes I sit and I write these notes out that I'm going to give in these discussions and everything. But sometimes as I'm giving the discussion, it vibrates at such a deafening decimal. So when we're looking at it, right, and I'm saying because it becomes the identity, do you realize that so many things have been passed down? Meaning this, some people unfortunately have inherited the complexity or the complex of feeling that they're not worthy of the success that they have. Why? Because they've been told they are doing too much or being too much. You're so extra. Nobody's ever done this. What makes you think? See, that's emotional legacy. That becomes that imprint, that compounding, that repeat, that small response becomes identity. That becomes your identity. So I tell you all the time, I must have been a child that my parents must have never told me, stop, will you please stop dreaming? No, they must have enforced so deep in me to dream bigger, do better. You can be better even than us. But it requires that you really tap into you. Who is Sonya? That's emotional legacy, because for me, that means that legacy that I have been given inside of me of dream bigger, dream brighter, be better, I now get to pass on to my children or my employees who are my family members, because they work so close with me. So I get to empower them and influence them in such a dynamic way. Those that work with me, clients that work with me, I empower them the same way. Those that come into interaction with me, be it from speaking engagements to right here on Whispers in a Bottle, I am giving you my emotional legacy each and every week. Gladly, proud, reinforcing it. And that's what it takes, Whispers. So, working with a lifestyle counselor, such as myself, right, who is trained in emotional architecture, dismantling those like unconscious scaffolds, it helps you to even move and maneuver in a different way. How you relate to time, intimacy, grief, failure, power, joy, how you move out of breaking the chains that divide and constantly keep you in a rotation of feeling, what is it? That syndrome that we told ourselves, we are not giving us a syndrome, because for the simple fact of it all, if we have imposter syndrome, it cannot be cured. But if we have an imposter mindset, it can be cured. See, we don't give ourselves illnesses that have no healing or no kind of comeback from. So it's important for us to really focus and dive into certain things and harness master keys that keep us growing, that keep us moving towards that legacy, that emotional legacy, the currency that, shapes our future. That's why I named this discussion that, because it is powerful. It means that it has to rotate and it has to move in a way that resonates with our soul. Whispers, I told you, I am fired up for this season. Season 11 is going to be dynamic. Now, you notice like this discussion is not as long as what our discussions coming are going to be. Because, see, I'm acclimating you back in to where we are and how we talk and what we do here. Because for the simple fact of it all, I want you to feel the emotional legacy that I am putting down for you so you can really ingest it. That you can really come and you can get behind it and let it kind of vibrate at the decimal that you need to receive it. So, welcome back to our safe zone. You hear the power of the season. You hear the direction that we're going to. And this season will not flatter you. It is not about flattery. It will refine you. It won't offer hype. It will offer, reckoning. It also will have those moments that we're going to sit in deep reflection, because it is a time and a space for us to grow and develop as people. Your emotional currency determines the future you can transact and the future you are allowed to hold. This is where we build a new legacy, one aligned, one deliberate, and one of worth. That's how powerful this is. And if you want or need to work with me one-on-one, please find the link to my calendar in the description box and click on it. Or come over to Instagram, over there on IG at whispersinabottle_podcast, and DM me calendar. And I will make sure that you get sent my calendar. Because these are elements and spaces and places that we want to be affixed in our life. So let me just tell you, Whispers, this season is one that is going to motivate us in such dynamic manner. But not only here on Whispers in a Bottle, right here on our home network of Podbean, I have a second show that I do every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Noom Vibe. Now, you're going to see a link in the description box. I've never put it in the description box before, but you're going to see a link in the description box of our episodes, because this is the thing. I'm giving powerful discussions over there. And this season over there is all about stress. Yesterday was our first discussion over there. And literally, the topic was stress isn't your enemy, it's your messenger. Now, think about emotional legacy. You think about stress, they go hand in hand. So, if you pick up your master keys right here in this discussion, you got 3 powerful master keys. Then you go pick up the 4 that I gave you yesterday. You got 7 keys. 7 keys that are aligned with each other. I'm telling you, it's about moving forward. It's about placing us in a space and place of growth. It's about our capital wealth of that intellectual wealth. It's about building up and not tearing down, whisperers. Come on and get excited. Welcome into the room. Welcome back to the lounge. Grab your mocktails. Take a cheers from me. This is a cheers from me to you. Matter of fact, if you could hear the glass, I tell you, it's going down good. So be a part of the community. Let's grow together. Let's develop. There's questions you have. Put them into the chat box. Come over to Instagram. DM me if you got questions or you need support. Get on my calendar. That's what this is about, us developing and growing. So remember to subscribe to our fabulous newsletter, The Whispers Exchange, so you stay informed about new discussions, even ones that I'm having, different panels that I'm going to be on. There's a lot going on this season, Whispers, that you are not going to want to miss. I promise you. And like I said, if you'd like to book me for your show or to have me as a guest speaker, please feel free to contact my publicist. His name is Trey Bump. And you can email him at traytheglue@gmail.com. And it is so good to be back in our safe zone, to be building out such powerful, dynamic discussions. I wanted to get you in here, get you acclimated. I think it was a powerful discussion that we had. And I look forward to us getting back together again next week. So, to come here, we'll be live next week. That's Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Podbean. So with that being said, Whisperers, it is fabulous to be back. Ooh, I'm so excited. Please make sure that you like, follow, subscribe, and also we would love for you to even, review our show. We're on Spotify and we're trying to build our following. So please go over to Spotify and give us a review. Tell them what you think about the show and give your honest feedback. We would love it. And even right here on Podbean, do the same thing. Show some love, give your girls some of the beans. It'll be wonderful. I'm really developing our community and building our community. So with that being said, you have been listening to Whispers in a Bottle, Grown Talk Cocktail Fridays, a clear voice amongst the noise. My name is Sonya LaRae. I'm a lifestyle counselor, fashion psychologist, naturopathic practitioner, but I'm always honored to say that I am your host, and it's good to be back with you. All right, Whisperers, please be safe. Make sure that you check on your loved ones and use caution. We're in a space and a place and time that we really have to use wisdom. So please make sure that you do that. Take care, everybody. I'll talk to you guys next week.